TJ Rogue from Overmind.com. We're here today with the Jimmy Urine of Mindless Self-Indulgence. And why don't we do this like we do every interview?
Okay.
What your favorite food would be if it was your final meal?
Okay, my favorite food, well, first off, I'm Jimmy from Mindless, and I make shit up. That's what I do for a living. And then my favorite food, final meal, would have to be sushi, but like good sushi, not like bad sushi. Like an albacore sashimi special, with a lot of ponzu sauce on it. Then you can kill me.
I was going to actually wonder, what was your worst sushi experience? Because it sounds like you're very specific about being good sushi.
I'm just a sushi snob. I'll eat sushi out of a fucking trash can if it's there, but when you've had like really good sushi, now I'm a snob.
So like we do in every one of these interviews, we try to get the band to describe their sound for all those fools out there who have never heard MSI before.
Oh my goodness.
But you can only describe it with one word, and it can't be a genre or an onomatopoeia. I feel like it should be very easy for you.
Mad Magazine.
So...
My transporter just shut off.
I feel like this interview's done now.
Yeah,
no more noise. They can actually hear what we're saying.
Yeah.
You know, MSI has taken kind of an interesting thing of being very against record labels, and they're you license all your own music and that stuff. So what would you give as advice, because we try to support independent artists, what would you give as advice for those upcoming musicians who really want to be musicians?
Quit. Be a lawyer. Be an entertainment lawyer. If you like entertainment, be an entertainment lawyer. You'll make way much more money if you're a lawyer or probably a doctor, but I don't think you're smart enough to be a doctor, so I'd say entertainment lawyer is probably the way to go.
So just say don't be a musician?
It's not worth it anymore. No one's gonna make Michael Jackson money anymore. I mean, even if you are the #1 selling artist in the world, you're only making, like, what do you sound like 100,000 records like in a week? Like, that's cool, but that's not like back in like Michael Jackson days where you sold like 1 million records in over the course of a couple of months. You know what I mean? Like that, like you'll never see that again. Plus, they really rape you. You know, the record deals now are all 360, so they want a piece of your guarantee for playing at a place like this. I mean, I don't do these deals, and when I first started, I wasn't doing. They didn't have those kind of deals. But now, if it's a young band, and when you're starting out, you're hungry. You're like, yeah, I want to do it. I'll eat a Dorito, chip off the floor. I'll fucking do whatever. I'll sleep in the bottom of a van, and I'll do all blah 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 blah. And that's great for a little bit of time, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, shouldn't I be making some money from doing all this? So they're taking all your t-shirt money, they're taking all your guarantees at the door money, they're taking pieces of your publishing. I mean, that's the only way you're going to do it if you do a record deal. If you do it on your own, and you're lucky, which I think you can probably do it on your own these days. I mean, you can make your own videos, they don't cost anything. You don't even need a manager, you can just get Siri to fucking book all your stuff. You can probably do it on your own, you can probably have fun at it, and if you're lucky, you might actually make a living out of it. I mean, I'm doing this because it pays my rent. If it didn't pay my rent, I would fucking quit. Like, there's no fucking point. What's the point? I've already done enough. I've done, 15 years of it. So if there's, anybody who's out here who's doing it for zero is either a young kid who's like, oh yeah, holy shit, this is the first time I'm doing it, or they're stupid. Because you need to be making something. You can't, I wouldn't work at Starbucks for free, you know what I mean? So that's my advice to them.
So,
hard love, tough love.
Break my mind. I'm not used to someone being so blunt.
Well, it's true. I mean, people don't talk, but people don't say the truth. They all bullshit everybody, you know what I mean? I get it when you're bullshitting up for a movie. I get it if you're like George Clooney and you hated the co-star and you wanted to punch her in the face, but you have this movie you're trying to promote. So you're like, she was great, everybody was great, we had such a great time working on this movie, I love this movie. Very rarely does somebody come out and say this movie sucked, blah, blah. But my band is my band, and I like my band, and other people's bands are not my band. I may like other people's bands. I may think that shtick is fucking amazing, like Ghost. I think Ghost, great shtick. Sounds like Blue Oyster Cult, looks like Pope Undead, has got all the ghouls. I think that's a great shtick. Some other people's shticks, not so fucking into it. I don't dig Black Veil Brides. I think that's like shitty, it's like a shitty boy band version of Motley Crue without the drugs. And so it's like, I think it's kind of pointless. And I'm gonna say that. Do I know those guys personally? Do I have a problem with them personally? No, but I mean, if you're putting yourself up on a stage for critique, I'm gonna call it like I see it. Just like I'm sure someone calls like maybe some people don't fucking like what I do. A lot of people don't like what I do, and they can say it's shit or not shit. It's fine.
Giving them a little bit more tough love. If they were, even if they are this little guy and they're really passionate about doing the music, how would they start making money? Because you have a very interesting way of attacking your own music and
Well,
unleashing it upon the
but
world.
what's good for the goose ain't always good for the gander. I mean, that works for me. There are other guys who get up there and are totally serious and are like, they're singing their songs and they're feeling it, and it's all really slow and acoustic, and they make twice as much money as me. You know what I mean? And that's fine too. Sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes people get up there and do that shit, and you don't buy it. It just depends on if you buy it. Like not even like physically, but like, does that match that person? You know what I mean? Like, do you believe that person, whether they're a rapper and they're rapping about stuff, or whether they're a soulful singer, or whether it's a country guy? It's like, if a country guy's getting up there and he's, every country guy sings about his tractor, but some of them you buy it, like, or they twist it a little bit, and they're not just singing like, I lost my dog and I'm on my tractor. Sometimes they're singing something like a little bit like, oh shit, that's kind of interesting. So it's really, have fun with it. You can either be one-dimensional, you can be three-dimensional, you can, whatever your shtick. I personally decided to do this crazy shit because I really wasn't into one thing. I couldn't commit to one thing. I was like, I like rap, but I don't want to be a rapper. I like new wave music, but I don't want to be doing that. I like dance, but I don't like, dance that much. So I just kind of squished it all together, and hey, and that's me.
Band. Yeah. Do you in your time still try to find new music and try to find talent out there and kind of?
No. I like music, but I'm not a huge huge music fan. Like, I don't, like, to me, music is work. So even if it's new music and I think it's cool, like, even if it's like, like the new Daft Punk, like, I'm gonna probably go out and buy the new Daft Punk, but I'm probably gonna end up not listening to it for pleasure. I'll probably end up listening to it and be like, oh man, what did they sample this for? Like, wonder what they were using for this thing, or like, and watch the videos and be like, oh, that neon, I gotta get that fucking neon thing as a backdrop, that'd be awesome. So I'm always looking at other people's stuff, and you get kind of influenced by it. But so it's always work to me. Like, to me, pleasure is like putting in a DVD or like playing a video game. Actually, the funny thing is, I'm not a record label. I'm not a record person. I don't need to find a person to sign or anything like that. I'll work on projects with other people that I think are cool, and they come to me. But that's usually like a project that other people have, like the video game, like Lollipop Chainsaw thing. That was cool. They sought me out. I didn't really seek them out, but it was a very cool project. And there was lots of people involved with it, and people I was friends with. So that was like a cool thing. But I'm not like running around like, oh, that guy in that band has something. I'm not an A&R guy. I don't give a shit. I already did my thing, and like it's your job to do your shit.
So spinning it up a bit and trying to changing wheels from this very serious attitude, very serious. Okay. I feel that's enough seriousness for a bit. I kind of feel like I like getting to know the musicians, like people getting to know the musicians, and I feel like oh, hi Jimmy.
Getting to know you.
I feel like a lot of times that one of the best ways to get to know them is going back to childhood, and I like doing it through asking musicians what their favorite childhood cartoon is, or sitcom.
Oh man, there's way too many to choose from, because my whole thing was I was into animation. My favorite cartoon as a kid that wasn't a are you talking like little kid cartoon, or because there's like different ones?
Let's go pre-adult.
Well, no, yeah, definitely pre-adult. But like the thing was, my parents let me watch whatever the fuck I wanted to watch. So like I would, on one hand, I had comic books that were like, Star Wars comic books, or like, Marvel comic books, like X-Men, stuff like that. But then I also would go buy R. Crumb comics because nobody stopped me from buying it. So I'm 7 years old. I've got R. Crumb comics. I've got Freak Brothers comics. Same thing with movies. I loved all the Disney stuff. We used to go see the Disney stuff. I loved Dumbo, Lady and the Tramp, all that kind of stuff. And I really dug animation. So this, of course, instead of this question being so simple and me just going like, oh, I love the Flintstones, like I loved Ralph Bakshi, all that Fritz the Cat, Lord of the Rings, American Pop. The one that really changed my life was the animated movie called Heavy Metal. Have you ever seen that one? All right, that one was the one and that's super adult, based on a comic book called Heavy Metal, which had all these French artists in it, like Mobius and Drouillet and Bilal, and it's like all naked chicks and guys with swords, and like it's really like, and science fiction and all this kind of stuff. So that's like it's to try to make a simple question, you ask the most complicated question, because that's like my whole thing is like, I grew up on all the animation, whether it was Don Bluth doing like Secret of Nim, or like all this Ralph Bakshi stuff, or even like the early, before anime, because anime didn't come out until the late 80s, really breaking here, and so you had like Battle of the Planets and that kind of stuff. That was really cool. I watched all the regular stuff too, like all the Looney Tunes and all that stuff, but like I loved cartoons, so all I did was watch cartoons, and really, maybe that's the answer you're looking for. It was too much animation. That's why it's like a cartoon out there. I like cartoons, comic books, video games, movies.
So then what would be your again, really hard question. Favorite video game?
Man, see. Old school, we're gonna have to go with, if it's anything 8-bit, I'm gonna go with Mega Man. I like all the Mega Man series. Anything open world, like Grand Theft Autos, all those Rockstar games are great. Red Dead Redemption's really good. Right now I wanna get Bioshock Infinite, but I haven't gotten that yet because I'm still on tour. But I have to go with Mega Man, I think, if I had to pick something. It's just such a great looking 8-bit game. A lot of couch punching. Back when you couldn't save, remember, kids?
And then you'd always get to the Sigma, and then you'd die miserably and have to do it all over again. But so let's end with one final question. I like trying to end these interviews by having people, go home and tell their mommies, I learned something new today. Because I feel like you should learn one lesson of the day. So what random factoid does Jimmy have cooped up in his head that he could tell as a lesson of the day?
All right, I guess the lesson of the day for today, this isn't always the lesson you should learn, but lesson of the day is if you're gonna make ramen, and I don't mean top ramen, I just mean ramen, I mean real Japanese ramen, you definitely want to make sure that the soup is good. The noodles can be good, the chashu can be like okay, but like if the soup sucks, the whole thing is ruined. So if you have a soup that's like a 10 soup, and then you throw in like some okay pork, you're gonna be fine. I don't know if you're gonna get all 3 of them right, but if you could please do that and open up a ramen shop that doesn't suck in America, that would be amazing.
And I'm TJ Rogan from Overmind.com, and this was Jimmy Urine from MSI.
Bye, kids.
And yet you don't want to hold the hands of Booger Girl.
I went streaking through my record label and got dropped like shortly afterwards.
Oh, that
when I was 19. That was probably actually crazier.
Yeah, that's pretty funk though.
Yeah.